Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's me, MsNoBuntu DIVAA, and I have been quiet for a week, not for a very long time, and it has been because I have been busy coordinating this very meeting with a guest from the Iyanla show. One of the episodes of this final season, it was titled The Trauma Train. The person who wrote in for that particular episode was Yolanda, and she reached out to me after she saw my my share of thoughts and insights and feedback after watching the episode, and she reached out to me, and so I'm about to come into a chat with her right now, just beginning a conversation with her, and this is why I've been so quiet, because I've been just trying to coordinate that it's different time zones, we're hours and hours apart, and so I just had to coordinate all of that this whole week so I could bring you this particular interview that I had with her and chat that I had with her. She said she wanted to answer some questions that, I guess to bring clarity, or to bring to create a bigger picture that we could understand as the viewers. And so I said, okay, sure, let's talk about it. And that's what I have been busy trying to work on, coordinating and putting together. And so here it goes, and I hope you absolutely enjoy it. I will come back after the conversation and talk to you about it. So enjoy.
You about this?
Yes, this took a minute.
My goodness. I think we're actually 7 hours apart and not 10 hours, actually.
Okay, that makes.
Yeah, which makes it so much better, because then that whole 10-hour gap was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thanks for asking. How about you?
I am well. I'm well, just a little tired, but I'm well.
Good.
Yeah. So I just wanted to first have an initial meeting just to figure out what it is that we want to cover, what's off bounds for you, what your intention is, what my intention is, and
right.
Yeah, so that I don't want to have you feel like, you're blindsided in any kind of way, and you
right
in any kind of way. So that's I just wanted to meet about that, and particularly find out why you wanted to have a conversation with me.
Well, for one, I just kind of appreciated that your review was more so kind of summing it up and just a little more of a positive, outlook on it, versus a lot of the other bloggers. It was just so negative and judgmental. And so I just kind of wanted, and it kind of gave me the opportunity to kind of get some background, because there was a lot of just kind of misinformation and, people coming up with stories in their own heads when some questions weren't quite answered, or the editing, kind of misled a lot of the situation. So just to kind of give the YouTubers a chance to hear some of the background stuff.
Oh, okay. So that's your intention with this, just to give
Yes, that, and I really wanted more so to help people, like for people to hear the story and be able to relate it more so than just hear it and judge.
Yeah, because
a lot of people thought like I was an actress, or that I was, a famous person, or so just to kind of show I am real. That was really hard. I continue to do work every day to try and heal. It wasn't just a show. Like I hope that it can help other people, but it was real life.
Because how I look at each and every one of the episodes, and for me, I'm grateful that I get to thank one of the guests, because how I look at every one of the shows is as an illustration of a generational pattern of sorts, or whatever kind of dysfunction. And it's less about the people you're watching and the family you're watching, and more about an illustration and looking at yourself and your own life situation, and trying to figure out, okay, what can I apply? What tool can I apply here? What outlook can I extract from this illustration that these people have been so gracious to use their own life story to share. And what can I take for myself and apply into my life, into my own healing? So I try to look at the stories in that way. That's always my intention, and not to go at the people. I'm like, I don't know these people, you know, and they, you know what I mean? And they're giving us a great gift. You know, it's courageous to come out and put your business on the street, and then go home, and then you're faced with people talking all kinds of smack about you, you know?
Yeah. The internet is so cruel. I wasn't quite prepared.
I've seen the other reviews. You're like, damn, it's so personal. No, it's not. Just watch the illustration and take the lesson for yourself.
Yes.
You know?
So that's kind of what I got from your review, and that's why I wanted to, you know, kind of, because I really appreciated that.
Okay, so and what else was I going to say? You know, what I was thinking about was, you know, what was the experience like for you being on the show, you know?
It was a lot. It was very surreal, and there's a lot of like even background stuff. Like they're really picky as far as like what you can wear. Like I know at least 2 of the days they made me change into their wardrobe, their outfits. They were very picky about that.
Maybe it has to do with like the lighting and television sometimes, you know, like so if you wear something that has too much of a pattern or too bright.
It was that, and they said like they don't want people to focus on your looks. They want them to focus on what you're saying. So they really want to downplay how you looked, you know. Like nothing name brand, no labels, no, you know, nothing to,
because that's licensing.
They don't be attractive. So yeah, that was part of the background stuff. And just you know, like when she's opening up wounds or, you know, things that are deep feelings that you didn't know you had, that is so real. And then with the cameras being right in your face too, you know, like how do you really process it?
And if that's not your everyday experience, it's a lot.
No. So, you know, not used to being on camera. And then we filmed for like 12 hours a day. Like it was long, for 4 or 5 days straight is how we did it.
Yeah.
And so that was a lot. So for me, it was a lot of just going back at night and processing. So I had like sleepless nights the first 2 nights. You know, just a lot of stuff that I didn't realize were issues for me.
How many nights was the filming?
We got there on Friday. We filmed Friday, Saturday. Wait a minute. Okay. I can't remember. I think it was 4 days. Okay. Because the first day I had to just kind of relax. Okay. But once filming started, we did 4 days straight. From like 9 in the morning until about 8 in the evening, 7, 8.
So coming together, and you're about to open up this can of the story. What's that like when all the different family members are arriving? And are you arriving at the same place? What's going on? And what's that like?
So for one, I told them that I didn't want my uncle there. They surprised me with that. I had no idea he was going to be there. I told them that I wasn't quite ready to deal with that one. You know, I wanted to focus on my mom and my son. I just wasn't quite ready for him. So I didn't know he was there until I walked in at that first. Yeah. So that was my first time seeing him since we were in court. So that was a lot for me. So I felt like I did pretty good just, you know, seeing him there because I specifically.
Like being stopped and quickly composing yourself and going on.
So that brought back a lot of emotions that I thought I had kind of dealt with. I didn't know I still had so much anger. I knew I wanted to forgive him, but I didn't know I was still so angry with him until I saw him. Really, until I saw the 3 of them sitting on that couch over there together.
Yeah.
So that was a lot for me. Even with my son, we hadn't seen each other in years. So just those emotions coming back of seeing everybody again. And, you know, because we had really kind of split down the middle. It was kind of them against us and the whole thing. So it was a lot. It was a lot.
So the split, who was on your side and who was them?
Well, at first it was just me against them, really.
Okay.
And then after Lauren, her and the abusive boyfriend, he finally like scared her and like really beat her up until she stopped lying about it, admitted it, and came running back to me. So that's when she and I kind of reconciled.
Okay.
So Lauren ended up coming kind of back on with me, and then KJ was always kind of on my
The
side. He
youngest,
kind of was
this is the
someone's,
youngest.
yeah, seeing
Okay.
everything going on and kind of supporting me. So it was me, Lauren, and then I have another child who didn't come. I don't know if everybody noticed. They said I had 4 kids, but only 3 was there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. And where does the 4th child fall in the rank?
She's number 3. She's older than KJ, but younger than Lauren.
Okay. Okay. I see.
And she decided not to come because she was always neutral in it too.
Okay. So you feel like KJ and the one who didn't come, were more neutral.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
And Lauren was on their side because she was kind of at the pit of it, hiding that abusive relationship. So as long as she was hiding and they were believing it and they were all, mad at me saying I'm lying, she was on their team. But when the stuff hit the fan and he kidnapped her and beat her, she came back to me. And then she was kind of like, okay, y'all, I was lying. He was beating on me. She was kind of more on my side.
So when you wrote...
So it was crazy. It was a lot.
I can imagine. So when you wrote, what were you writing to try and resolve? Because, the process at the show is that, what do you think you're here for? And then what is actually coming out from the underbelly of what's actually why you're here.
So when I wrote, I wanted her to... First, I felt like we needed someone that was older and mature that could relate, and then I was a fan of hers anyway. I had already started my healing. So I had started reading her books and, watching past shows. And so I just wanted somebody who was, first of all, I didn't think my mom was going to do it. Like, I did not. I knew it had to be somebody who she kind of would trust, like an older woman, Black woman that she could kind of relate to, And so, but my intention was, I just wanted forgiveness. I could not figure out how to forgive my mother and my uncle and my son. I just needed help forgiving.
Oh.
So that was kind of my intention, the forgiving, and to help anybody else who could see this story that could relate, even as far as like me not knowing my dad. I felt like it's so many Black women out there with that issue. Like, just help me deal with that and learn that it's self-identity and then self-love and all of that stuff. Like,
because I remember saying this about, the dad issue. Like, it's all well and good when people are making, those decisions for their own, this is what I want, but what about the child that comes out of that situation and how they feel about, I came out of this situation of convenience because, obviously 2 females cannot have a child by themselves, but, and then this other plan, that's not my choice, came about, and that's how I came about.
Yes. And then just like, me being the only one wanting to find my dad, there's 5 of us and my other 4 siblings just not interested, still to this day, not interested. And everybody kind of looked down on me for it and criticized me about it, because I kept asking my mom, like, who is it? And she would give me these stories that weren't true. And I would go on these wild goose chases looking for these lies that she was telling me. Yeah, so that's why I said I did not think that I would ever get that truth out of her. So for me, I just kind of respected her and forgave her for even being able to do it, to tell me the truth.
Let's backtrack a little bit. What was the forgiveness work that you wanted to do with your mom? I guess your uncle. I don't know if you had planned for your uncle, but your uncle and then your son. Did you want to do any forgiveness work with Lauren, your daughter?
I felt like for Lauren is very forgiving, and we had a very close relationship before it all happened. So I knew that once this stuff hit the fan, that she was going to be able to, we were going to be able to make amends. But in the scene that you saw with Lauren, what my intention was she still had anger towards me. I had forgiven her because I understand the battered woman syndrome. I was there. Like, I get it. I got it when Iyanla told me I was fighting her battle. It was my trauma that I was projecting on, why I was fighting so hard for her. I understood that part too.
Did you get that?
I did get that. I got
Mm.
that. So what I wanted was for her to forgive me. That's why you didn't see me really trying to rebut. Like in the comment that everybody was so crazy about when I was like, was that me that called? I said that comment because everybody was calling the police, the neighbors, the office manager. Like it wasn't just me. So that's why
Calling the
I responded.
police for on Lauren's boyfriend.
Oh yeah, he had a track record. He has like
Okay.
maybe 6 different incidents that they have. Like
Okay.
it was crazy how she was hiding it from other family members, but I was finding out. Like one time the office manager called me because she listed me as the emergency contact.
Right.
One time the officer who responded to the call got in touch with me because it was a woman officer, and she was like, I'm just so scared for her. Like he is gonna hurt her, and I can tell she come from a good home, and I'm calling you to let you know what's going on. Like everybody who knew what was going on was telling me. But what I couldn't forgive Justin for was that not only did he befriend the boy, but he got the family to believe I was lying. Nobody would believe me.
Okay, so that's the part because first but did you get that Lauren probably did what Lauren was doing it didn't come from anywhere. It was literally a generational pattern repeating
Yes.
itself, you know?
Yes.
And
yes.
Did you think in the times when you were saying to her, look, if you're going to be in a relationship with him, I cannot be in a relationship with you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think about, but would I have in the times that you were in that space as well, many years before, what would you have wanted to hear from someone?
For me,
mother, a friend, what would you have wanted to hear from someone?
When I look back, I wish I would have had some discipline. I wish somebody would have snatched me up and said, you are not dating this little boy. You are not, so I guess I was trying to give to her what I wished I had. I was trying to snatch her up and say, look, you are not dealing with this boy. He is crazy. So that's what I think that was for me, because I had nobody supervising me. Whatever I wanted to do, that's what I did. Yeah. And so I tried the opposite with mine. I stayed on them extra. I was extra, like, hovering in control.
It's always interesting because you think what you would have wanted is what someone else would have wanted. It turns out that's not what they want. So it's like, it's, I think the work is probably in the prayer work, in breaking those patterns and less about, our flesh and trying to stop it. Like, this is what I would have wanted people to do for me, so I'm going to do it for other people. I think there's greater power in, praying on it and coming against it in prayer as opposed to in the physical space,
Right. So I learned that was one thing I walked away with too, and that's a hard one that I think needs to be talked about too, is how do you transition to being mom to older children? Like I had a really hard time with that. I still wanted to mother her and tell her what to do and discipline her, but Iyanla had to make me see she is grown. If she want to stay over there and let that boy beat her butt, that is her choice. So that I took from the show too, that was hard for me.
Yeah, like I don't know, the way I see it with parenting, it's literally you're a steward for about 21 to 23 years, and then after that you pray over them and you release them. You teach them all that that is good and is wise and is discerning, and then you let them go because they're not yours, but as long as they're a reflection of you and these are my children,
and I was gonna protect her.
Then it's a difficult thing. At some point you just have to say, well, God, these are your people. I did my part.
Right. Yeah. So that's where I'm with it now, and just learn to kind of lead by example. I can't make her love herself or, not accept that. So I just try to show her, the ways that I'm doing it. I invite her to little sister circles I'm going to, and I give her, books to read, and I send her motivational things in the mornings, and just finding a different way to, show my love and concern versus, going out and fighting the fight for her.
Yeah, I see. Unless she invites you to fight the fight for her.
Right.
And then, even then it's like, okay, give me the parameters. Where do I begin?
Right.
Where do I end? So it's clear that, oh, this is where I stop, and I sit back and,
Right.
I don't take
So
it.
for her, so to answer your question, that for her, I just wanted her to be able to vent on me and say whatever she needed to say to forgive me. And I tried to just, not come back with excuse and just take it. So that was my intent with her and I conversation.
And then your mom?
My mom, I could not forgive her for supporting my uncle. So before I went forward with the charges and stuff, I tried to talk to him. I tried to talk to her. I was like, I just want to talk about it. I just want an apology, but he would not speak to me. And so I tried to ask him to speak to me, like, let's just all sit down as adults. I understand it was the heat of the moment, but I just can't let him do that and not speak to me, not say I'm sorry or I'm sorry this happened or whatever. And she refused. She was like, well, you know how he is. He's not going to talk to you and you need to just walk away and accept that. And I was like, no, I'm not.
Okay.
And so when she showed up,
because that's what sorry?
So when she showed up with him for his bond court and when she went to regular court with him, I just couldn't figure out how to forgive her for that. Like, how do you support this man that did this to your child?
Yeah, because that's what became unclear. Was it really an assault, or was it, I don't know, or were you made to look like, because your perspective from trauma that you overreacted. So which one was it again?
This is what I got from that.
Mm.
What I got from that, what Iyanla taught me, is that everybody experiences it different and you have to respect their experience.
Right.
So to me, I got so upset because to me, he was lying. He put his hands on me and he's trying to downplay it. That's how I saw it.
What do you mean by put his hands on you? Like, did he
grabbed me by my neck and kind of drug me through the chairs.
Okay.
Right. Mm-hmm. So I had pictures of that. The only reason I didn't know I needed a lawyer when we went to court. So because I didn't have a lawyer, I couldn't show the pictures. My boyfriend couldn't testify, like I just wasn't prepared. And so that was the other thing that made me so upset, is that he actually got away with it and guess what? He had a lawyer because my mama hired our family lawyer for him. He had witnesses because my mom got up on the stand and lied and was his witness. Like, it was just so crazy and unfair when all he had to do was apologize to me. All he had to do was say, I'm sorry this happened. And it wouldn't have went that far, but he refused to speak to me.
So you wanted him to say, I'm sorry I put my hand on your neck and drag you through the chair.
He didn't even have to go that far. He could have just said, I'm sorry all this happened.
Okay.
That would have been good enough for me.
He wouldn't even say that.
He wouldn't speak to me. He wouldn't acknowledge me. He wouldn't speak to me.
Do you feel that he was justified because of the reason that he went there? Remember, the reason that was given for him being there was that it was it was after the funeral, and
it was before any of that. My mom just tried to have a get together at her house, so it wasn't just me and him there. It was my older sister and my brother. Those are the people that was there. And what's crazy is that I wasn't even the one fussing with him. My sister was fussing with him. And I
remember the story being that you saw Justin's wife come in and you said, what is this bee doing here? Based on the opinion she had given on your mom's partner.
Nancy. Okay, so let me break that down for you. So what happened with that was, I have an older sister, right? I'm the youngest of the 5 siblings. So I didn't really have anything to do with the medical stuff. It really shocked me to hear my mom say that I asked for a morphine drip or something. I had no idea about the medical stuff. What I was doing was, they owned a business together. So I was running the business while all of this was going on. My sister was the one going to the doctor's appointments and at the hospital and knew all the medical stuff. Mm-hmm. So if you know anything about that medical stuff, like, you have to have power of attorney to make any decisions. And that's only if the person is like not able to make their own decisions. Well, she was able to make her own decision. She asked for the morphine drip. Nobody made that decision but her. My mom was upset with her for asking for the morphine drip. And she was ready to go.
Her decision.
Yes, my mom didn't want her to go. She wanted her to stay nurse. Nancy was ready to go. She asked for her morphine drip herself. So I took that. I figured, okay, my mom needed somebody to blame for that morphine drip. First, it was my sister. The show is the first time I ever heard that she was saying it was me.
Okay, so
Never heard that.
So how did that bring, because now Justin's wife became like collateral damage to that for just giving an opinion that was solicited. So
let me tell you how she got into it. So when Nancy decided she wanted a morphine drip, my mama wanted to change her mind. My mama started trying to recruit Derica, right? Because Derica was a nurse. So she went to Derica and started asking her about other options, other alternatives, all of that.
Right.
So Derica and Justin goes and they find different alternatives. So they go back to Nancy with it. Nancy calls me and my sister in the room by ourselves and says, your mama done got Derica them and they trying to figure out ways for me to try different treatments. And I'm just ready to go. I want to go on hospice. I want the morphine drip. I'm ready to go.
Okay.
So my sister says,
was she sick with cancer? Was she sick?
Yes, it was lung cancer.
Okay.
So my sister says, we'll take care of that.
She was in pain.
She was in pain, yes.
Okay. All right.
So my sister says, I'll take care of that. So my sister tells me to say something to Derica about her looking for all this stuff and doing all, because my sister's frustrated. She's like, why is she even involved? Like, she's not one of the children. This is us. Why is she even involved? So I said, okay, I'll talk to Derica. So I sent Derica this text and I say, please let my family handle this. Please back up, you know, and let my family handle it. And Derica comes back at me and says, Mama, that's what they call my mom. Mama asked me to look around and do this and that, and you need to grow up. That's what Derica tells me. So that's when I popped and did the whole, went to her house, bamming on the door. They wasn't even there. The only reason they even knew that happened was because Lauren was there and Lauren told them. When Derica sent that ugly text back to Mama, she popped. She went over there with a knife in her hand, bamming on the door. Nobody wasn't even there. So that's what they blew up about. Oh, she threatened my wife. Oh, she said she was going to hurt her. All this and that.
Oh.
And that's what says more to the story.
Oh my goodness, because what I understand is that she was consulted by your mom just because she's just come out of nursing school. Hey, what do you think? You know, and she just gave her opinion and she was solicited to give that opinion and then she was out of it. But
they calling other hospitals, was arranging stuff and had Nancy upset. This was like, I don't want to do all that. Yeah. And so that's how we got into it with Derica. You young, you one of the grandkids, you shouldn't even be involved in all of this. But that was my mama who drug her into it.
Yeah. And I guess also her not having the ability to say, look, I'm just going to give my opinion and then step back because this person is well within their wits still, you know, and if they're saying this decision is a decision that they want, then we all have to respect it, whether we like it or not, whether we're ready or not. They're right, and they know the kind of pain that they're experiencing. Right. Okay.
So that was the breakdown with me and Derica. So when Derica came to the little get together at my mom's, she walked in and she just kind of did this kind of quiet, hey y'all, or something like that. And I was like, you know, what you're not gonna do is come down here with a little funky attitude and try to not speak to me. And so she and I got into it. And then that's when my mom got all upset and was like, everybody just get out.
So how do you resolve? How have you come to a place of peace with her?
With Derica?
Yeah.
Well, on the show, we kind of hugged and we kind of got to talk a little bit, but not since we've been back. I tried to reach out to her and I just didn't get any response.